Hi, my name is Utkarsh. Today I am reading the third part of the book. The name of the book is Get the Scoop, Geronimo. So here I begin. Incredible! Sally had beaten us to the story again. The Stone Age Ratterizer was going to be awarded in a few hours, and she was the clear favorite to win. Rats! We would never win. Now we were doomed, extinct. We were about to sling back to the news office when we saw a group of cave mice running towards us. Get out of the way! Watch out! Move! Grunty and Thea jumped to the side of the road just in a nick of time. Hercule and I weren't so lucky. The wave of rodents ran right over us. What's going on? Thea asked the panicked crowd. The mice stopped. The rocks are growling. The rocks are jumping. The rocks are hopping. Jumping rocks? Hercule asked. What are you talking about? The rodents started babbling all at once. We couldn't understand a single word, they said. Bouncing bananas, cried Hercule. Calm down and tell us what happened. The oldest looking mouse took a deep breath. We work in a quarry, he said. Come there with us and see for yourself. Now, I don't know if you ever been to the old mouse city, but it's a vast, rocky area. We were cave mice get all our stones. We use the stone to build our huts and make useful items, such as tools and bowls and many other things. We followed the quarry mouse to the quarry, and the old rodent pointed to a cluster of large stones sticking up higher than others. We had just finished our break when the stone began to pop out of the ground. He said they were growing like mushrooms, and they weren't just growing. Another rodent added. They were jumping, hopping, and swinging back and front. The rest of the workers nodded. Thea nodded. Stones that move? That could be a remarkable scoop. But they aren't moving now, Hercule pointed out. I said. Let's stick around and see if they move. Maybe we can finally beat Sally to a story. So we waited, and nothing happened. Yawn. Are you sure you saw them move? Asked Hercule. Yes, the mice insisted. Thea sighed. But there's no story here. I plopped down a big rock. You know what? I peeved. I snorted. I am hot. My snout is itchy, and there is nothing happen here. And at the moment, wow! Come on, Geronimo, this is nothing to cry about. Hercule scrawled it. I am not crying. I snorted, suddenly afraid. I turned as pale as mozzarella. Why was I afraid? Because I could feel the boulder underneath my start to move. It slowly pushed up from the ground. What was happening? The boulder began to move some more. Petrified cheese. What was going on here? Everyone started in amazement as all the stones suddenly began to jump up and lie down. I was bounced from one to another like a sack of plastic potatoes. It was terrifying, painful. One boulder crashed into another boulder, and then all the boulders stopped like dominoes. The first boulder made the second one fall. The second one made the third one fall, and the last one crashed into me and made me fall. By the great Zap was about to go extinct. I was too young to lose my fur. Geronimo, Thea yelled. I am here. I squeezed from under a pile of rocks. I crawled out from under that pile of debris with dusty fur and bumps all over my tail. But I was safe and sound, at least. Of course, that didn't last long. You're lucky to be alive, Thea said. looking around happily. She leaned toward me and Hercule and whispered, "The rocks really do move. This is a great scoop. Wah! All right, who keeps crying?" I asked. Hercule had his ear against a pile of loose stones at the end of the cave. "Geronimo, the noise is coming from here," he exclaimed. Thea and I rushed to him and we heard the noise too. All of us quickly began to push aside the loose rocks. We moved boulder after boulder, slab after slab, and pebble after pebble. And that point the welling stopped and the ground began to shake. Boom! Moodly Mozilla, an earthquake? Help! I cried, with my whiskers trembling in fright. I took cover under a big rock. Yes, I admired it. I am a big scaredy mouse. But can you blame me? It was an earthquake. Or was it? When the ground stopped shaking, a creature popped up from the ground. It's a giant mole. Giant moles are large prehistorical creatures that live underground. They have powerful claws they use to dig long, deep tunnels. Giant moles have weak eyesight and can get destroyed very easily. Now I got it. I figured out why this mole was crying. He was lost and couldn't find his way home. The boulders in the quarry must have blocked his underground tunnels. Poor thing. He must have felt trapped. So he dug his way to the surface. When he really was trapped, until we held him. In growing, Thea, Hercule and I slowly approached him. The giant mole might have been big, but he was also adorable. When he sensed us near him, the mole stood up and burst into a dance. Flossie Futella, he was so happy. He must be glad that we dug him out, I guessed. Thea on the another paw looked beaten. I had never seen her so low. So much for our mouse latex scoop, she said. Moving rocks is big news, but a lost giant mole is nothing special. In fact, it's a big fat flop. I am starting to think that Sally is really going to win the Stone Age Retirizer. After we showed the giant mole which way to dig to get out of the quarry, the dove back underground. I felt good to help him find his way back home. But we were back to square one. We needed a big scoop to beat Gossip Radio. So we said goodbye to the Quarry Mouse and went back to the task of finding some sensitive news. But how should we try to find it now? We need to clear our heads, I said. How about a nice swim? Hercule suggested. That should relax us, and we can wash off this quarry dust, Thea added. As we walked to a river, Grunty started copying my moves, making fun of me. What an annoying Saurus. We stopped at a scheduled place by the river where the current was slow, the bottom was clear, and the water was shallow. The perfect spot for a little dip. I scrambled down the river bank. I was about to jump into the water with the alacrity of the Dolphinosaurus when I slipped on a rock and bounced into a river instead. Ouch! What a Jurassic pain! Then I heard a voice behind me. Geronimo? Geronimo still not. It was Leo Endystone, the village inventor. What are you doing here? I asked him. He chuckled. See with your own eyes. While Thea, Hercule and Bruni splashed happily in the water, I followed Leo and Eldystone to the ledge of the rock overlooking the river. There I saw a huge tower of boulders with a strange constipation sticking out of the water nearby. How did you build a tower so tall? I asked in ethnography. Leo smiled. I did it with my boulder builder. Boulder builder? I asked. Leo walked over to the constable and began to turn a crank attached to two stone wheels. Thanks to the boulder builder, I can't lift enormous boulder with a little effort, he said. He turned the crank and a boulder that hung from a pulley overhead began to rise. The Leo moved the lever, placing the boulder on top of the tall pile of rocks. This is just the start, said Leo. I am going to build an even higher tower. Then I'll light a fire on top of it. That way, anyone using boats on a river at night can see where they are going. That was a brilliant idea, and it was Leo's first really useful invention. We finally had a mouse-related news scoop. I ran to tell Thea and Hercule. Thea got by chiseling the article. I interviewed Leo Eddystone and chased a picture of the boulder builder. My sister finished writing just as the sun was setting. We had to go to the story out quickly before the award was announced. Thea stayed behind while Hercule and I jumped on Grundy's back and rushed to Old Mouse City. Suddenly, I saw Hercule's eyes get very wide. Put your head down, Geronimo, he ordered. What? Where? Who? Great rocky boulders. Something was flying right over our heads, whiskers trembling. I looked up and saw a pterodactyl. It was Zippa, on fire guardian of Old Mouse City. Every day after sunset, Zippa and her partner Scrooge light the torches in the city that illuminate the streets. Hercule and I followed the glowing torches to Singing Rock Square. All thought the city is lit up for a night. We could not see the single mouse anywhere. I had to do something to get their attention. So I began to scream like a shrill. Extra, extra, read all about it in the Stone Gazette. Leo Edison invents something useful. I repeated this a few times, but not a single rodent came out of their cave. Not one. Can't anyone hear me? I yelled. Leave it to me, said Hercule. He cleared his throat and began to scream like a rat in a trap. Look at this! A huge hunk of Parmesan cheese. Let's not tell anyone else about it. Right away, a wave of rodents slipped into the square. Their noses twisted and their mouths watered in attention of eating the delicious cheese. Where the Parmesan? Give us the cheese. Cheese, 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 they all chanted. Bones and stones. What now? There was no cheese. But Hercule seemed to have the situation under control. He stepped in front of a crazy crowd and pointed to the sky with an announcing look on his face. Up there, look, he cried. It's enormous. It's colossal. It's a massive. The rodents looked up, but all they could see was the round full moon. But that's the moon, said an half-tea mouse. Hercule, are you feeling okay? I'm fine. I'm just really excited because here, Hercule cried, snatching the stone Gardhi tablet from my paw. Then he began to shout, read all about it. Leo Edison had finally invented something useful. It will help all cave mice. Details in the Stone Gazette. The citizens of Old Mouse City looked at one another in amazement. Did we hear that right? Something useful? By Leo Edison. That's when Sally shouted up. She snatched the tablet and read the article out loud in one breath. Then he went pale, then purple, and then green as angry T-Rex. How did I not know about this? This piece of news is definitely fake, she cried out of rage. Just look who's talking about fake news, Hercule remarked. Listen up. There is an easy way to Settle this, said Annas. Let's find Leo Edison and see for ourselves. Hercule noted everyone to the river. We headed out with a small crowd of rodents marching behind us. When we arrived, we saw that Leo had finished his star and lit a lively fire on its top. The village leader was speechless. This really is useful, he said. Leo nodded. Yes, from now on the boats traveling at night will see perfectly where they are going. The cave mice broke into the thunderous applause and Andrist cleaned his throat. Seeing the importance of the tower and the fact that Leo Edison has finally invented something useful, he began. Everyone ears twitched as they listened carefully while Sally sizzled with anger. I proclaimed the Stone Gazette and its publisher Geronimo Stilnude winner of the Stone Age Ratterizer. The applause got even louder, and it was direct at me, right at me. I began as red as a Plazak pepper. I can be a ratter, shy mouse at times. We all began to celebrate. Some rodents hugged Hercule, who melted like cheese in the summer sun. Groony started jumping up and down happily and then began to hop around like a kangaroosaurus. Then suddenly Grunty stopped hopping. He scratched his snout and achoo! He exploded into a biggest sneeze the Stone Age had even heard. With a truly megalithic sneeze it was. It flew through the crowd like a hurricane wind, sweeping heads right off the herds of rodents.